My name is Khalila Blake. I'm in the College of Arts and Science, majoring in political science and American studies, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Are there any ways in which Vanderbilt, in your Vanderbilt experience, has not lived up to your expectations?
That's a tough question. Are there any ways that... I guess Vanderbilt was a little bit more racially segregated than I expected. Like when I came here, I knew I was coming to the South, which was a little different than what I was used to in New York, but I didn't expect, like when I came here, I initially saw a black Vandy and a like dominant white culture Vandy. And that was something that I think is problematic for the university. I understand why it exists, and it's something that I don't think I'm here to change, but I definitely do see it as kind of like, I wish that the school was a bit more of a united front as opposed to like really great pockets of happiness and success, but they're kind of really individualized, and it's not so much about everyone coming together and sharing ideas. It just seems really segregated to me.
Describe Black Vandy.
Black Vandy, I would say it's shaped a lot by Black Greek life, a lot. I mean, because Black Greek life at Vanderbilt is pretty popular. And I would say that Black Vandy is just kind of a choice that people, I see it as a choice, honestly, that when you come in as an African-American student, or even as somebody who just identifies with Black culture, there's definitely an outlet for that. And I mean, it's not, okay, I take that back. It's not entirely Greek life, but I think Greek life is an aspect of it. Spoken word is an aspect of it. VOP, which is like the gospel ministry, is an aspect of it. And I feel like there are just different sections within Black Vandy, and as a Black student, you kind of come here and feel like you have to find your place in one of those. And for me, I definitely felt that pressure and definitely fed into that pressure, I would say. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing that, you know, Vanderbilt has such a community for Black people. But I do think Black people who may not be used to only hanging out with Black people or only associating with things that are like uniquely Black might be problematic for them, and it might be kind of difficult. And I just feel like it's like when you come here, you have to make a hard choice as if you're going to be Black Vandy or white Vandy. I think one thing that I do think that is changing is that there's a new kind of multicultural Vandy that's coming about, and that's just it's Black people, it's white people, it's Malaysians, it's Indian, it's people from all different backgrounds that kind of come together and hang out a lot. And that's something that I think is emerging under my college experience. I'm seeing it happen, and it's something that I think is really a good place for a lot of people who don't feel like they can fit into the Black Vandy group.
How did you navigate that tough choice of Black Vandy, white Vandy, because this multicultural Vandy was developing along those times, but how did you navigate that? And
for me, I would definitely say that I chose Black Vandy as an outlet for me, just because as an African-American female, I closely associated with a lot of other African-Americans, so they were all kind of joining Black Vandy and joining VOP and interested in Greek life and going to different sporting events and speaking a spoken word thing. So it just was where my friends were headed. So I kind of just threw myself in the mix as well, because I didn't want to be the one person that's like that Black girl in the white sorority, because I feel like that would have been me, or that Black girl that's always with white people or something like that. And so for me, Black Vandy just became a place that was just more welcoming and more accepting, and I feel like I had more in common. Initially when I came to Vanderbilt, I definitely felt like I had more in common. And even the upperclassmen who I could say were in Black Vandy, I saw myself in them more than I would see myself in a white female senior that, you know, I just saw like there were Black female seniors that I aspired to be like. And that really shaped and forced me to kind of head that direction.
Now, what do you think, or what do you feel like you give up as a student here when you choose Black Vandy versus white?
Yeah, I think as a student you give up really trying to understand the other side, because I think I'm not saying I mean, I don't think the world is a utopia where people would all get along and we're all just, I mean, I think that realistically I understand the need to associate with people who you feel are like-minded or look like you or are like you. I understand that, but I think what's missing sometimes is the desire to understand the other side. I don't think you necessarily need to participate in it if you so choose that it's just not something that you like or it's not, but I feel like there's this lack on both ends. There's a shunning kind of like, oh, I can't do that, that's a black event. Oh, I can't do that, that's like a Kappa Delta event, and I don't do white sororities, or that's in the BCC, can I go there? Like, and I feel like that understanding is important, and I feel like it's just something that I think would push Vanderbilt in a direction that could just be a little bit more revolutionary, a little bit more 2014 if people were to be willing to not necessarily participate, but just to simply understand the other side of Vanderbilt. Because even I feel like this is something that I'm guilty of. I see the date night parties, and I don't even know what is really going on there. And I'm like, yesterday, I'm like, I wish I kind of understood, like, how do you do this? Do you pick somebody? How does the date thing work? Like, it's just a lack of understanding and ignorance on both ends that I think breeds the segregation to further, and the gap just kind of continues to separate.